What's up everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bioactive Builds, where I do step-by-step do-it-yourself naturalistic animal enclosures. In today's video, I'll be doing the Aquascape in the 8x4x6 Paludarium series. That will include mounting the plants and installing the driftwood, the inlets and outlets for the epoxy canister filters, installing the lights, making it easier for water changes, cycling the 300 gallons of water, adding fish and more. Enough said, let's build. Don't forget to check out the full series on how I got to this point. It's definitely one you're not going to want to miss. Alright, let's go. There's nothing like having a blank canvas to get creative. The aquatic section is 5.5 by 4 by 3 feet in this 8 by 4 by 6 Paludarium. Mocking up the driftwood on how I wanted it to flow. For this I'll be using 2 large pieces. I wanted to keep the center of the pond portion open so the mertens can swim freely, so I mocked up everything accordingly. To secure the fake plants into place, I had to start removing the base. This is so I can strip it down as much as possible and attach it to the flagstone and driftwood. Drilled some holes into the driftwood and kept the shavings so I can attach them later. Squeeze hot glue into the holes I just drilled. Stuck the base of the plant into those holes. I'll post a link in the description down below on where I got the plants. They were kind enough to give my subscribers a 15% off coupon code. I really did want to use real plants, but with the mertens destroying their grow out enclosure and the plants inside, I knew fake would be the only option. But after the mertens are in there for a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to add some real ones. To get rid of the straight edge and make it look more natural, I sawed a grid into the top, ripped it off with the vice grips, and hammered it down to get rid of any sharp edges. To tack the plants into place, I used a little bit of hot glue. But to secure them permanently, I used PolyGem ZooPoxy 307 Lite. It's an amazing product that virtually has no limits. I'll add the link down in the description below. Painted it brown to match the rest of the hardscape. Detailing everything in with a smaller brush. Hit it with watered down black acrylic paint to give it some more definition and weathering. Proceeded to dry brush to give it a more naturalistic look. Now to work on the inlets for my aquatic canister filters. Use some magnets to mark my spots on where I needed to drill. This will allow the PVC pipe for the inlet to be able to make it to the canister filters. Cut various different sizes of PVC pipe to make it work and fit my vision. Using liquid Teflon tape on the threads to make it all watertight. Screwed on the barbed hose adapter. Working on the portion that will be going down into the water, I cemented on some threaded fittings. That way I can attach my strainers. This piece here will go through the hole I drilled out earlier and connect to the pipe that goes down to the water portion. Prepped everything so I can fuse it into place. I wanted my inlets at different heights so it would pull water from different depths. Attach the hoses to each one of the canister filters. Spray foamed over the pipe to give it a more naturalistic look, removing the eyesore of the pipe just coming into the enclosure. Cut back the spray foam with a serrated steak knife. Cutting it in a way so the mertens can grab on and climb out of the water. Applied more PolyGem ZooPoxy and tied it into the hardscape. Detailing it with a rock silicone stamp. Finishing it off with a natural sea sponge. Now that I had my inlets all done, I added spray foam over the board. Applied some more PolyGem ZooPoxy, making sure it was pitched back to the water section so water could drain itself if it splashes up. Painted everything to match the hardscape. And as planned, the water drains, preventing any pooling. Camouflage the strainers and screwed them in. Now to work on the spray bar and outlet to the canister filters. I showed this in part 3 of the series on how I got to this point, but to pick off where we left off, I had to drill some holes. Now to get them installed behind the cap. I did fuse these pieces in, but only the 90-degree angle. This way I can remove the actual spray bar portion in the future if needed. Got it as level as possible. To hide the cord for the LED lights, I applied silicone and applied dry cocoa fiber into the wet silicone. Scuffed up and painted the lights brown. Added a thick mound of ZooPoxy underneath the waterfall base. Painted it and screwed the lights into that mound. To pull my cords out, I had to stick a hose down a PVC pipe I'd made previously. Attached those cords to the hose and pulled them through. Stuck my Hygger pump into some sponge filter to help keep debris out. I'll post a link to this pump in the description down below. Snap the cap onto the bucket, creating a second housing for the pump. Attach a PVC union that goes to the top of the waterfall. And place on the end cap to keep anyone from escaping. In the previous video, I only used a 1/2-inch strainer. This took way too long for the enclosure to drain itself. So I made some adjustments by drilling a 2-inch hole. Married everything together using G-Flex epoxy. Added silicone around the bulkhead to create a gasket since it was an uneven surface. Screwed on the back nut. Wiped away any excess silicone. Used a Dremel tool to rough up the plastic. As an extra barrier of waterproofing, I used G-Flex epoxy around the whole outside of the bulkhead, then roughed it up. And covered it with ZooPoxy, once again an amazing product. Detailed it in like before. Added my replacement 2-inch strainer. Sometimes you gotta make adjustments on the fly, but that's the thing with DIY. On the other side of the strainer is gonna work the same way, just replacing it with a 2-inch pipe, with a PVC union for a quick release system, followed up with a gate shutoff valve. This pipe will lead right behind my Ackie enclosure, which shoots over to another gate valve, acting as a failsafe. From there, another PVC union acting as a quick release, which dumps into my sump pit and ejects out of my house. This piece of driftwood was going to take forever to get waterlogged, so I had to come up with some solutions. So I added a few mounds of ZooPoxy to flagstone, painted it to match. Placed it in where the driftwood was going to lay, drilled some holes, attached some zip ties, moved the piece of driftwood back into the enclosure, lined up my flagstone, zip tied it down, anchoring it into place. For this piece of wood, I did something similar. But instead of using flagstone, I just applied ZooPoxy to the hardscape itself and mounted it the same way. Mertens can be pretty destructive, so I also wanted to make sure that the driftwood wasn't going to move. I found it better to overbuild to prevent problems in the future. I'd like to take a moment to give my Patreons a huge shout out. Your added support is super appreciated, and it really helps with my next build. You also get some pretty cool chats, early access to my content, one-on-one calls, and more. Now that everything's finished, prepped, and ready to go, I placed it into the enclosure. Keeping all the plants and driftwood along the outskirts of the aquatic section is really going to allow me to see the fish and mertens swimming through the viewing window. It's been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see that happen. Mainly because that's what this whole build is centered around. In the previous video, I left off doing the water test. All was well for 5 days with no leaks. So now it's time to do the final fill of 300 gallons. Get it cycled and ready for the fish and mertens. Slid the canister filters into place and gave them a good prime. And turned them on. Watch the water exit the outlet, coming down a small waterfall. I've spent a lot of time on this project, so see it all come together is a huge relief. Dialed in my heaters to 80 degrees. Turning on the pond lights in the middle of the night looks really cool. I just wish the camera would do it justice. To get rid of the chlorine, I added API tap water conditioner. Squeezed out an established filter I had from another paludarium to get some of the beneficial bacteria rolling. I also added Fritz TurboStart 700. This will allow me to add fish instantly. It did have my water cloudy for about 24 hours. For the first livestock going in, and to help cycle the tank, I added 60 leopard danios, acclimating the fish to the temperature of the water for about 25 minutes. Poured them into a net, and such a reward it is to see some life go into this build. Adding the leopard danios has been such a game changer. Seeing that life dart around in the water, it just brings this whole ecosystem to life. It got me daydreaming about what's next. I've got some exciting fish planned, and of course, the mertens monitors will be moving in soon. But right now, I'm just going to enjoy the process. Feeding the fish has quickly become one of my favorite parts of the day. The way the quick little swimmers gather and glide through the water, it gives this whole tank a pulse. It only lasts a few moments, but is perfectly captured and the energy and life starting to take hold in this habitat. Adding floating plants brought in that final touch of the wild, softening the surface, providing cover, and making the whole setup feel more alive and untamed. From the 6-foot waterfall crashing down into 300 gallons of water, to the mist rolling from the fogging system, every detail is starting to come together. Even the gentle trickle from the canister filters adds a subtle touch of motion and sound. At night, the LEDs make everything glow, especially the tree overhanging the water, and Pride Rock just waiting for the mertens to dive off. Or seeing them through the viewing window, displaying natural behaviors. I can't wait to show you what comes next. This is going to be one incredible habitat, not just for the animals inside, but for everyone watching it come to life. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me the favor, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel continue to grow. For the full playlist on the series, check it out right up here. For the next video in the series, check it out right there. For some other videos you might like, check it out right here. Thanks for watching.